the spinal rock hurdler. We're in a hurdler stretch. The inside of the foot to the inside of the thigh, knees dropping down, even balance between two sits bones, belly towards the extended thigh. We are going to round down, but only to release, not to stretch down. So we're not doing a compression posture. We're actually reaching forward toward the foot, flowing out, belly first, then chest, then shoulders, then arms. Now, this may be a coordination challenge, and if that is, you drop down to the straddle, the spinal rock straddle, because we're going to technical failure, not to physiological failure. This is the height of complexity for the spinal rock. Because we're alternating sides, we're going to become asymmetrical, and that does cross-brain work, which from a neuroplasticity standpoint is optimal for your functioning, and it's fantastic for warrior access when you have to switch between weapons, switch between options. That facilitates cognitive functioning. So cross-brain work, cross-hemispheric work. If we're going to extend one leg, that leg is going to go back first. So it's going to be half of a pike. Knee comes to chest, just like in the basic drill, and we extend by squeezing the quad. At this point, you should be able to touch the ground because this is the highest level. However, we're going to be performing half of the basic spinal rock's hip extension. So here is the basic spinal rock, the second level. We're going to be doing that with the bent leg of the hurdle. So from here, this leg is going to extend its hip as this foot touches. That will give us the ability to touch without tension on our neck. It will stay across the shoulder plane and will help us with our core development, especially on the angular diagonal aspects of our core. So extending the foot back direction, hip forward, letting the foot drop down by squeezing the quad. We're going to keep this new leg configuration as we come down, and this will be where the coordination challenge happens. We're already in the next hurdler. As we roll down, we switch to the opposite side. So now with the feet in this position, we can work on opposite knee out, work on your alignment, 3 points of balance, 2 sits bones, 1 tailbone, crown perpendicular to the ground, chin down, then belly, chest, arms. So we switch. Now this top knee is kicking away, leading toward the foot. The bottom foot is relaxing down through quad tension, squeezing the quad to get extension. Top hip is extending in the direction of the long leg. As we roll down, we have a new leg configuration. Switching back to the original hurdler. So that's going to be the challenge of alternating between these two hurdlers so that we don't get confused. So if you need to think your way through it, think of the foot overhead becomes the foot to thigh. So whatever leg's closer stays bent. Closer leg stays bent. In the fourth level of the monkey lunge, we're going to be working now from a 3-legged dog. Each time that the leg extends backwards, we're going to be lifting it up beyond the downed leg. So it has to go at least higher than our spine. 2 hips in 1 line. As we step forward, we move into our lunge. When we retract it back, leg up, switch, up, lunge. Up, switch, up, lunge. Now, The goal is to get the exhalation to increase the height of the leg in the rear, maintaining all of the structural components we worked on. So shoulder pack, elbows locked, palm heel placement on the ground. Good spinal alignment, slightly off parallel. 2 hips in one line, so we're not opening up the hip. Knee can project beyond the toes by dropping the hips down, not by coming off the heel, not by rolling forward. At this advanced level, it's going to be easy to go to technical failure. As soon as you do, drop off a 3-leg, come down to a 2-leg dog, and keep dropping down levels as soon as you meet technical failure, because the goal is to complete the program with great form, not to complete the program with junk reps. In the dive bomber plank pull, we're going to be working to keep those forearms down. This is an excruciatingly challenging and complex exercise because our focus is to pull forward. So we're going to be adding in a bear squat. You start in a downward dog position, not deep. Feet are flat, heels down. Don't try and go to the yoga depth. Right now, we're just working on that forward flexion. Drop the knees down into bear squat. Forearms down, plank position. Move all the way forward for your full muscle up plank pull. As you press back to plank, forearms down, lift your tailbone up, so you move to down dog from forearms. So, once again, you're in plank. Lift the tailbone up, forearms down. Press back to down dog. Squat down, bear squat. Fire full, all the way forward. Muscle up plank pull. As you press back to toes, lift the tailbone up, but press the forearms down. So tailbone comes up, forearms come down, then press up, all the way into down dog. Exhale. An overhead extension to our rear sit through push-up. So as we move through, thread the leg through, rear sit through. We perform our push-up. As we come out, we're going to extend the arm up overhead, come down, sit through, perform the push-up, extend up overhead, push up, sit through. Now, the extension should have locked arm, bottom. Hip should not sag, so hip should be in alignment. We're pressing off of the forward cross leg. So as this leg presses down into the mat, that brings our hip out of sag. This arm reaches up overhead and the head drops back. As we come down, extend, remove hip sag, press, all the way up. So our goal is to have the extension happen from that front cross leg. Arm up overhead, neck surrendered. You can start initially by extending the arm directly toward the ceiling, but eventually you want it to reach directly over the line of the extended leg. Shoulder impact, so you shouldn't have your delt up by your ear. Flare your lat to pull your shoulder down, so you have 2 shoulders in one line. Remove the hip sag by pressing off the front cross leg. Extend, remove your body back down to the mat for the push-up portion of the movement. Exhale, extend the opposite direction. So as you remove this slop out of the hip, you're pulling your shoulder down, getting shoulder pack, and extending the arm up overhead. In the level 4 of the sit-through press, we're adding on a 3-legged dog into the leg extension push-up. What this does is it adds inertia that you need to stop, because as the leg comes from the 3-legged dog and sits all the way through, now this one arm needs to pop and transfer the weight. You're bracing on one arm and you're decelerating on the other. So it's great agility. It's a plyometric exercise. So you need to work on the rudimentary basics before jumping up to this. And even when you're in the middle of a set, you want to choke down to the prior regression to make sure that you don't meet technical failure. As soon as your technique starts to degrade beneath an 8 on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being the best technique, then you want to choke down, finish out the set, regardless at what level exercise, but at good form. So here's your position. You've just performed your press up. Now this leg moves up to 3-legged dog. As you come down, you're going to switch into your press from the opposite foot. Your goal is to retract this all the way up. As you switch, leg comes through. Reach as high as you can. The knee can be bent. You can be on the ball of foot of the rear leg. Again, we're doing conditioning work at this point. It's not our yoga asana, so you're smoothing off the depth. Go shallower so that you can work harder. Level 4 of the shin box kick is a guard spin. Practice first lying on your back. Step across. Now, we're going to roll across our shoulder blade till both legs are up. Step across the other side. Across, across. Now right now you're rolling more like a log. What I want you to do is perform your spinal rock. Roll over onto your shoulder blades. Now that you have that basic motion, what you're going to add onto it is leg swing. So you're going to extend the leg to full locked position as you move onto your back. Kick them into this seated squat. Once you have it, we're going to move on to the last portion, which is instead of landing in that seated squat, you're going to move to a full shin box each time. Now, obviously this is the most core intensive out of all of them, and you're adding in lateral work, the rolling aspect of bending right to left. So focus on practicing it, and as soon as you feel your form degrade, where you're starting to push up into shin box, rolling straight back, you've lost the technique. Then it's time to work back to level 3 so that you get that spinning action. Your goal is to lengthen out those legs. so that you can get the full kicking action.